This episode is brought to you by Disorder, the new experience from Swagabyte Games and us here at ScrewAttack, South by Southwest Gamers Voice nominee and winner of the Indie Bits 2014 Pretty Byte Award. Available now on Steam.
RoboCop, the lean, mean, law-enforcing machine. Once a humble police officer, now a rampaging cyborg with a justice boner strong enough to crush diamonds. If you've heard of RoboCop, you know he's a serious badass you wouldn't want to run into while littering, or just breaking the law in general. But did you also know he's the king of all prophecies? I'm Jocelyn the intern. I do all the research nobody else wants to, straight from the desk of Death Battle. In 1987, a movie called RoboCop came out, and it was awesome! Not only did it have a fairly accurate view of future Detroit, it also featured some of the best cyborg ass-kicking to date. But to add to the madness, 23 years after the original premiere, director Paul Verhoeven declared RoboCop was actually Jesus. And not just any kind of Jesus, a cyborg American Jesus. Now, you're probably saying, woohoo, Jocelyn, how the hell is the Tin Man with a gun Jesus? Well, pipe down a second, I'll figure out for you just how Jesus-y RoboCop is. It all started with Sergeant Murphy, aka pre-op RoboCop. Murphy was an honorable man with a strong desire to help those in need, but his heroics got himself gunned down by a bunch of crooks. Sure, being a good guy is Christ-like and all, but it certainly doesn't make you Jesus. Except Murphy is killed in a crucifixion pose. Coincidence? Of course not. Boddicker even drove metal through his hand. Okay, it's not exactly a nail, but you know what I mean. Then poor Murphy gets torn to shreds by a maelstrom of shotgun shells. Kinda like the whipping of Christ, but with 12 gauges. Hey, wait, how come not a single one of those windows behind him are breaking? Either these thugs are firing Nerf rounds, or they are a group of traveling shotgun wizards. Moving on, the bad guys finish Murphy off with a final blow to his crown. So hey, plenty of guys get shot in the head, right? It doesn't automatically make them Jesus. Dying like a little bitch certainly doesn't make you a savior of mankind. But then Murphy gets himself resurrected. I mean, that's like Jesus 101, you know, straight from the book. Sure, he isn't in a cave sealed behind a boulder, but this is Detroit in the future in a closed-off lab. Close enough, right? RoboCop's death and revival makes him a Christ-like figure in a literature regard, but the real question here is whether or not he is the American Jesus. Well, he immediately starts to clear Detroit of sin. Rather than baptize people with water like the OG Jesus, our new American version gets the job done with bullets, which is like 110% American. That's how we do it. The original Jesus performed amazing miracles, and so did RoboCop. They're just a bit more, not nice. Jesus cured a man's leprosy. RoboCop gave a thug radioactivity-induced leprosy. Jesus removed a man's blindness. RoboCop removed a man's dick. Jesus died on a cross to save us from the fires of Armageddon. RoboCop ripped open a metal cage to save Sting from the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. And rather than upholding the law and arresting Boddicker, RoboCop decides to just kill him right then and there. This part doesn't really seem all that Jesus-y to me until he goes and walks on water. Are you seeing this? He is the Mecha Messiah, the true American Jesus. I mean, sure, he kills a lot more than the original did, but hey, this is the American Jesus after all. Would you expect anything less than pure badass from the country that brought you the automobile, then made monster trucks just so we could crush automobiles and do something other than church on Sundays? When RoboCop walks across the water and says,
"I'm not arresting you anymore,"
he's basically saying, hey, I'm going to kill the shit out of you. Did you think you were going to learn such interesting things about RoboCop today? Probably not. So make sure to like this episode and share it with your other RoboCop and Jesus-loving friends. We cover so many members of society here at ScrewAttack. Hey, you may also notice a bunch of new shows appearing on ScrewAttack. If you like this show, you may also like this other show called Who Is, where one of Boomstick's close personal friends, Chad, fills you in on the history of certain comic book characters. It's super fun and I think you'd enjoy it. As always, thanks for your support, guys.